Hello, Western Civ 105. Welcome to the last week of class and the finals week. So hopefully there's going to be at least some relief for you coming up. In the meantime, the final is due on Wednesday. Okay? Now, here's something that I want to say in regards to this. I never encourage students not to take a final, and I do not calculate your grade for you to help you figure out if you can take the exam or not, and it affects your grade in the way that you want or not want. Okay, that's up to you. But here's what I'm trying to say. I give a lot of points. We do a lot of work, and then I also provided a lot of extra credit. So if you're looking at your grade and the percentage falls into the grade category that you want, A, B, C, D, whatever you want, right? I'm assuming an A is probably what you want, or at least a B. But basically you realize that taking the exam won't help bump you into a different grade category, or you don't need to. If you just write to me and tell me on Canvas through the link of the exam, say, Mr. Pollock, I'm not taking this exam. I don't need to, however you want to say it. It won't hurt my feelings. I'll give you the 0, and you'll get the grade that you still want. Again, I'm not going to help you figure that out. You can look. I believe the Canvas lets you put a 0 on a grade just to see what it would look like for your entirety of your percentage. I'm not sure if it still does that on Canvas for students. In any case, that's up to you to explore. I'm simply saying, basically what I'm telling you is it's not going to hurt my feelings if you don't take the exam, and you don't feel the need to. But I'm not going to be the one to make that determination. You have to figure that out for yourself. I want to remind you also that if there was late work, if we discussed turning in late work, I said, and I told you that you could, today is the last day. And if we did not have a conversation explicitly discussing turning in late work, you will automatically get a 0, so don't do it, okay? That's also important, okay? So I would like to give more time for all of you, but we're at the end of the week, and so here we are. I'm going to get your grades in by next weekend. And so, is there anything else I wanted to say about that? Oh yeah, I can't remember if it's for our class. Many of my online classes, I have old assignments that somehow get stuck in the assignment categories for grades, but I didn't assign them. I want to remind you, if you see an assignment that I never assigned, then you don't need to worry about it. You were only needing to do stuff that was assignments that were in the modules, okay? So that's an important thing to point out. Essentially, I think that's the main thing that I needed to say about moving forward with our grades. Lastly, we covered quite a bit of dealing with Western civilization, and we could only cover so much. Right now, I guess we're always in historic times, right? But there's so much going on, and the world is changing quickly, rapidly. Major shifts from when I was in high school. The Soviet Union falls apart around the time that I'm ready to graduate. And the world changed immediately then. And we thought it was going to go one direction, and it went a totally different direction. So we are now, again, in uncharted territories. We had the nuclear crisis with the Cuban Missile Crisis. And we always learned that Russia and the United States or China could not go to war with each other because of a concept called mutually assured destruction. But here we are in this tense situation with Russia all over, a very different thing, different political system. But here we are. You read the Alexander Dugin comments. I brought him in as showing you an ideological framework coming out of Russia that is different than the Soviet mentality, but still a very kind of Russian one. And Russian nationalist is also a narrow way to even define it. By the way, someone tried to assassinate him in recent history, and the car that blew up was one with his daughter in it. A very tragic event, most likely revolving around what's happening in Ukraine. So when we're talking about these kind of conflicts, we're talking about this kind of history. This isn't just some sort of light material we're covering. We're covering very heavy material, which people are investing their lives in, maybe taking lives in, and so forth. So I just want to remind you that the material that we have covered is really, really important, and understanding the best of your ability of all things going on in the world and the existential crisis that Western civilization finds itself in, and the moral questions that are being posed, whatever side you're going to take, are very important. And you can't just get yourself wrapped up in little sound bites. And this is why the importance of history is critical to at least helping us make sure that we don't get on the side of history that actually makes us feel ashamed later on, right? That happens all too often, okay? And so I just want to remind you that. I remember when I was in Germany and I talked to this doctor on a train leaving from Sweden. I was heading to Frankfurt. He's an older man, and he said his father actually joined the Nazis in the World War II era. And he was actually somebody who was more kind of on the liberal side of things. And he was frustrated with the government. He was very cynical with the system. Sounds familiar for us now, right? And so he decided that he thought that Hitler was the best bet. He wasn't super ideologically into all the different things about him, but in the Nazi Party, it was basically kind of cynicism with the system. And he ended up being in the front in Russia and almost died and almost got thrown off of a train. And as he was having his mortality being potentially, basically finding himself almost dead and on the wrong side of the war, he talked about how his father had many regrets thinking about those decisions he made. And, I just want to remind us that any of us can be that guy looking back at our life and asking ourselves, was the side that we were on right or not? And how big of a question, how big of a deal of that can be. So, I don't know. I just want you all to consider that. In any case, I always enjoy teaching, and I always hope that it inspires positivity instead of negativity in a very complicated world. And perhaps I'll see you around. I wish you all the best, and I'll be getting to grading your papers this week.